Alright, we have readies from both teams.
Alright, we should be live, so hopefully everything's set up.
You took off the comments on the side.
I don't like the comments on the side.
How am I gonna redo commenting? I have to get on my phone now.
Anyways, welcome. We're here to do Pizza Planet versus Tater-Bots, which is week 9. Yes, we just saw Pizza Planet take on their week 10 against Valkyries, but here we are. We have, I believe, both readies. And
both readies have been stated.
And let's go on to Ilios. And I'll leave it to Wukong and our guest commentator, Awesomely.
What is up? It is your boy, Awesomely123, back again at the commentating booth. This is a return, blast from the past. Did this once before, and I'll do it once again. To start off, both teams, if I'm not mistaken, are doing pretty good so far. They're on streaks. So this is going to be a definitely interesting matchup. Thank you for the test pause. Well is one of those really funky maps. Lots of potential for the environmental. We see a lot of Orisa Hog, Orisa Sigma. Lucio is a must pick on this map. I do question what the DPS lineup will be, but I guess we're going to find out in about 5 seconds. So, let's see.
Ready for battle.
Looks like we're running on the side of Tater-Bots. They're opting for a double shield at the moment with a McCree and a Brig. The Brig is a very good option, especially given the prevalence for just things to come up behind you, like the Lucio to attempt to boop and things like that, which we won't see on either side today, apparently. But the armor packs are still pretty powerful for your Ana, and the McCree Reaper is always a deadly combo. But on the side of Pizza Planet, we're running with the classic Halt Hook, and we see the Echo Torb, which is unconventional but a spam-heavy comp, and I'm guessing an Echo Mercy, and then yes it is, and a Moira to back up the rest of the team. Is going to be a poke war for an attempt to not put him well. Right off the bat, Shinigami gets to pick off the Wedgie Bot, and Psycho gets the great hook, both tanks down, Jag out of the fight, and it looks like point will possibly be capped by Pizza Planet. Psycho ate a fat sleep right there, and Len got off the res while everything was chaos and whatnot. Psycho's in pretty deep, but it looks like he's going for a hard flank, just setting up in the choke. They don't want to be put into the well under any circumstances, so they're just hiding in the choke. Here we see Jag taking aggressive space with Kinetic Grasp, and oh, looks like Orisa got yanked by the Hog. Fortify comes out, and they all seem to be rotating left while the Ana takes main to provide some extra clearance to the Reaper, who's going for a long-range flank. This is an interesting strategy to attempt to rotate and collapse on them rather than force the fight on the objective. But given that it is well and they're running Halt Hook, this is probably the most preferable method to take point. With 44% to Pizza Planet, Tater-Bots now take point.
It's been a while since I've seen that. This is very
very fast paced.
Yeah.
Again, we see the same strategy from Tater-Bots as they attempt to hold in the choke and keep the Pizza Planet from being able to get any environmentals on them of any real variety. But we see the duplicate come out for Sigma. They can get the but Rage Quit and Jag with the duplicate duo right there, just kind of cleaning up shots. So they invested Nano, and I'm not quite sure that was necessary. But nonetheless, Pizza Planet is forced to retreat as Tater-Bots have just about collapsed on their percentage, and they're now in the lead. They seem to have noticed the Torb turret that's set up on high ground right side and eliminated it.
Oh, he still got him though.
Follow up, that's a lot of their damage out of the fight as we speak, so this is a time for them to reach in, but the hook either fails or reaches the fortified Orisa. It's kind of hard to tell. Power boosted Junkrat is always something fun. Shinigami coming out. I've seen him with a lot of the frag DPS, if we will. And Ranch to Fresh. Alright, just like kind of just asserted dominance right there. T-pose everything. Will we see any swaps on the side of Tater-Bots to deal with this, or are they going to try to forehead through with ults? That's the real question. Rage Quit takes some chip damage, but I can't really tell where he is right now. He's on high ground. Can't really peek with the threat of the turret right there until Polish takes care of it.
I want to say I want to recognize Branch Depressing PSN name. I really like it.
I mean, don't we all? This planet is playing very defensively, looking for that fat hook. Failed because of the barriers, but as both teams are kind of playing this game of just like the raging tides, so to speak. Just both teams attempting to slap themselves onto point and force the fight out. Jack gets hooked right into the well. And we see the Torque turrets doing some good old scouting, and oh my goodness, Wegsy-Bot with the double ult. Nano and Fortify, I mean, that's a scary sight, let me tell you. Ult should be coming down on a cooldown pretty soon, but it is 99, they can't really afford to give up point credits right now. They pull out the BAP window, and they appear to have used most of their ults. They still have Blossom? But we don't seem to see many ults on the side of Pizza Pen either. They seem to have invested a lot attempting to just overwhelm them off of point and cap this. Wegsy with an early pick on Ragnarok, Alex.
Wow.
Rage Quit with him. That Blossom, let me tell you. While we weren't paying attention, it looks like Len got the res off on Rag, and Rag managed to put an end to the terrifying Reaper Blossom. But now it's 99.99, and it does not seem like Pizza really has the opportunity to get back in time. Body blocked. You hate to see it. It's do him dirty.
Both good effort by both sides.
I have to say that the Taters did, but they seem to have this rocky start almost. As things started to swing in their favor in terms of ult percentage, and we saw a couple fat blossoms and things of those variety. A good halt from Wegsy. They managed to turn the tide and cap the point. On this map, though, looks like we're going to see variations of brawl comps, or whatever you call a Rhine Ball? I'm not too sure. Along with a Genji and a Symmetra. Ball and hammer. Oh, it's oh boy, this is I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Hog and ball torture.
Oh, Hog and ball, yeah.
That's the official name for that comp. But it appears that Tater-Bots are going with the more traditional comp, not really changing too much besides putting Polish on Tracer, which is still a very viable option given the armor pack being provided by Brig at the moment. We see Shinigami take high ground and pump through the window, trying to get a good angle in on, but with that Brig just kind of holding point, the Genji doesn't have a good opportunity to get in there, but he attempts anyways. Gets antied, bringing out a deflect, but can't really deflect all that damage. I think the most crucial part of this comp on the side of Tater-Bots is actually that Polish on Tracer is attempting to do most of the heavy lifting in terms of poke and all that, while the rest of the team just holds the point presence and chokes. So this is really a stressful performance on the DPS, but appears to be going in their favor already. While Peace Planet seems to be struggling a little bit, it might be because of the lack of consistent damage, being able to protect the sim as a protect the president kind of scenario. We see Polish with a pick on Ragnarok Alex.
There's no Lucio on either side.
I know, that's just confusing to me. Ragnarok Alex is swapped to the Moira.
His signature Moira.
Exactly.
Excited to see what when he gets pulled off.
Psycho with the fat double kill right there. This is going to be their opportunity to push in. Shinigami may be causing a distraction with the blade. Psycho gets shattered and they pull out the Nano 2. Wall comes up, but it's just not enough. They don't really have the point presence to contest this. Well, they bring out mines. Let's see. Inside of Pizza Planet, this is really reliant on them being able to shut down this Symmetra, which they've done pretty successfully because they don't really seem to have, until the recent swap to Reinhardt, a consistent way to protect her from the oncoming damage. While the more conventional comp on the side of Tater-Bots is getting the heavy lifting put onto it equally on the whole comp. Ooh, Psycho with a nasty sleep charge, or jag onto something. Then with the uncontested res, while Rage Cook deletes Muffin Pirate with a Blossom. Psycho gets antied and body blocked off a point, and it's really up to... Everything floated for a second. And it's really up to Ragnarok Alex to really stall this right here, but, I mean, it seems like it's being stalled so far, but, I mean, there's not too much you can do when you got the Ana Brig on you. Map 1 gets the Tater-Bots.
I'm loving Dabarella's rig.
Very consistent. The armor packs seem to be going to the squishies, and really utilizing the whole kit in terms of shield bash and whip shots. Not all Brigs managed to pull off. And this is something I did suspect could have been the play of the game. I mean, this was just an insane Blossom and Flux combo. Psycho with the environmental kills, though, you got to acknowledge that. Look at that, 34 defensive assists. And then those Death Blossom kills. He almost got almost 3 kills per Blossom with that math.
I'd like to see this support lineup going that with Dabarella on Brig. That was very interesting to watch.
Yes, it was. I think if I have to break this down constructively right off the bat, I think the biggest thing that Pizza Planet has to overcome right now is that Tater-Bots seem to be running a very stable lineup at all times. Or not lineup, but a comp. So we'll see how Pizza Planet manages to adapt and overcome this as they... I believe they start off on defense for Numbani, if that stays right. And so we'll be seeing possibly the Sigma Arisa comp, which is very popular on this map, or Psycho might pull out the Hog and play Distraction on high ground on right side. But we'll see. In terms of Tater-Bots, I really am not too sure what they might pull out. I've seen them attempt dives before, and I've also seen them be very fond of the Ryan Zarya comp. But this is all dependent on what DPS they decide to run. I've seen Shinigami pull out a Bastion more than once, very competently. And Muffin Pirate's a nasty sniper. This could be a very hard thing to, or a very hard point to approach from the side of Tater-Bots unless they have something that is effective at shutting down both of them, or at least getting the leg up so that the other one can't carry all the weight in terms of the enemy DPS.
Polish is one I've always noticed is their McCree is this very scary.
Oh, definitely. Alright, on the side of Pizza Planet, is this okay or no? I'm a little confused by that statement. Oh, I see what it is. It's 0.8 over. I think we have to say no to that.
Yeah, that's a no. That's a no on that one.
Yeah, the limit is 3250 exactly. Teeth emoji.
Yeah, anything over.
It's such a shame. That, I mean, that's hardly
that
negligible. What would be the difference in this lineup? They're putting in Chrono Zeo with Len? Ooh, they might... Actually, I don't know Chrono Zeo too much. They're a rather new pickup as far as I remember. They could be an interesting combo with Ragnarok Alex, depending on if Alex is wanting to bring out the more heavy lifting. Because let me see what Chrono plays while we wait on this.
Moira.
Ooh. Looks like Ana, Lucio, Moira are the top three, but you can never write someone off based on their top three. Okay. When was someone going to tell me about this? When did Brig get a new color on the screen for like time? Don't play her, so wouldn't have noticed.
Whenever they updated Moira's as well, because they updated.
That flew under my radar.
With Moira's
okay, no swaps. Looks like they're going to keep running with the same lineup. I still see a lot of promise in this lineup. Like I said, I think it's a very powerful defensive lineup when it comes to setting up on a point like this with all this high ground. And no swaps inside Tater-Bots. Tater-Bots don't have anyone to swap. I just realized. Alright, let's get the show under the road.
Traveling to Numbani.
Oh, Numbani. I think this is probably the last game of what we have running this map rotation.
And
Yes, this is, I believe, because it is a Sunday, that we are at the last possible opportunity for Week 9 to get maps.
Unless Tier 1? Yeah. No, the Tier 1's already ahead.
No, I don't think they are yet.
Charles Tang was invited?
Howdy ho, Charles.
Hello.
Hello.
I
Charles.
believe I'm in the wrong group.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Goodbye.
Wish you
Enjoy
luck.
your cast. Happy broadcast.
That's the same raw energy as Happy Hanukkah, something I don't have that much experience with, but
Attackers
gosh, that feels good.
incoming in 30 seconds.
Be sure to check out Charles commentate the other game, Tier 1.
Alright, so
Very
I was getting pretty close with the Pizza Planet lineup. This is a Risa Sigma, and if I got this right, they're going to probably... oh, both of them on the same high ground. That's interesting. Torbjorn Protect the President has been really popular on
love
this
the
map.
tour.
One.
Love the tour.
Ranch is
Incoming.
sitting there pretty depressed, I'm guessing. Pun intended, they missed their barriers on low ground. But on the side of Tater-Bots, we're seeing the good old Ryan Zari. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. With Polish on Genji. Not something I'm too familiar with. He's mostly hit scan to my knowledge. But with the recent buffs, he is... I mean, it's kind of hard to justify the plan to not pull him out. They seem to take high ground. Ooh, that's a fat pull. Breaking the barrier of Jag as they start to rotate. Immediately, they seem to be... they're going to be beating them on high ground, it looks like. Pizza Planet, very aware of this strategy, has played the long game and rotated to the other bend. These Yanks are great. The only problem is they don't have anything that can really follow up against that barrier. They really need the Torbjorn to start flying more aggressive with those barriers. Polish out here getting some picks on Muffin Pirate and Shinigami, while the tank line and Blend, while the tank line kind of just stomps down on point and kind of just asserts themselves. And I don't think the Pizza Planet has the ability to take this back, so they'll be rotating.
Objective lost.
One thing
You
I
have
saw
any swaps
Ragnarok
inside?
Alex should have stayed with the team there. But I mean,
I really don't know. It's kind of hard to justify at some
Yeah.
points because the VAP does have long-range healing and the ability to remain less of a priority while providing a large amount of heals. It's just travel time. We don't see any swaps on the side of Pizza Planet, but we do see that Rage Quit has gone to the high ground in the back and is dueling the VAP Ragnarok Alex alone, which is not a duel that I think that VAP is going to be very likely to win, but now that the Ashe has shown up, looks like Rage Quit is giving up. But that means that both VAP and Ashe are missing from the fight. In terms of ult economy, we see Nano and Window along with Blade. Ooh, either way that can be deadly. We see Window pop immediately when a Fire Strike thrown through. as they storm onto point on the side of Tater-Bots. Ooh, that's a big bob. That's a pretty good angle actually. It's a little bit of everything, but it's hard focused on Zarya right now, which is not a good win.
Watching Alex though, he dodged that shatter nicely. Very well.
Rage quit over here with the kill on Shinigami, and Muffin pulling out the dynamite underneath Wexybot. Peace Planet stabilizes again. With both tank ults and window online, Peace Planet does have the ability to stagger these out and kind of spawn camp, probably for another couple minutes.
What do you think they're gonna do?
I don't know. This is a great time to pop flex. The Blade has come out with Nano, and he's just looking to catch him up. But instead, he turns around and focuses on Zarya, which Zarya pulls out Bubble, eventually nullifying damage.
I was hoping
This is a very split fight, but it has forced Pizza Planet out of the point while they have to play more defensive supports. Shinigami is stalling as long as possible. Brave warrior. There was no saving him, he was anti. Polish with the sneaky kill on Ragnarok Alex when I wasn't looking. Tater-Bots so far just seem to really be very coordinated in terms of what their DPS and their tanks want to do, giving their healers a lot of autonomy. I've seen the Ana land hits on flankers as well as just pumping a little bit extra damage into people. And Deborella has been very on point with the immortality fields. Use of exo boots is definitely a plus. They pull out the Bull and Ryan on Pizza Planet, probably as an attempt to just displace and attempt to mess with the main tank line. Shinigami pulls out the lava and they start funneling into the stairway, but Jag is still on point and the BAP is next to him. Psycho charges onto point. It looks like the planet has found a way to stabilize. Shinigami though, building up that ult, just kind of, coming in, getting a few pot shots off.
The few ults on each side.
Ooh, that's a magnificent movement block on the side of Pizza Planet. And the Mines comes through, gets her Polish, and Ragnarok Alex cleans up Wexybot. Looks like Len is deciding to play a little bit of fate, chasing down the Ana. At the risk of themselves, they did manage to stagger out the Reinhardt, forcing them probably into an even respawn in terms of when Len will return and when they will be able to push next on Tater-Bots.
Probably see either a good Shatter and a High Noon here. Probably good in combo.
I think
Or
the
Shatter.
best thing would be to High Noon to force out the barriers so that the Reinhardt can go for a Shatter and then set it up, or the ball can throw them out of position. But he swaps off Zarya onto Sigma, putting in a lot of extra utility in terms of the ability to block the bear, block the Shatter, which just happened, as well as eating projectiles, and he's providing a lot of interesting parts to this equation. During that Ramble, Pizza Planet just kind of clapped down on there with the help of Shinigami's ult. They forced Tater-Bots off a point. It's now about a minute and a half left for Tater-Bots. This is still doable, especially since they have both DPS ults and will inevitably become close to the Shatter. But on the side of Pizza Planet, they really only have Window and Molestus' opportunities, as well as Mines. Not anything to be underestimated, but most definitely at a disadvantage in terms of just raw numbers. Shinigami has gotten chased into the hallway, so we see Jag and Psycho clash in the hallway just to get a save. System wasn't in the game, we're good.
60 seconds.
They were spectating.
Okay,
Planet
did you
very-
guys actually see that Shinigami was standing on top of a table and all of Tater-Bots just walked past him?
I did not.
He was camouflaged.
I've been keeping a loose eye on point. Wow. Orbis table confirmed. Both windows come out, but with this sheer number of blossom. A roller coaster of emotions.
Whoa,
I
what's
see.
going on?
Wrong lobby, guys.
Wrong lobby.
Yep. Someone might have put the wrong copy pasta. Shinigami, well, let me tell you, Shinigami has just had massive uptime and got his own lava deflected onto him. That's not a very common occurrence, let me tell you. Tater-Bots really have one effective thing to do here, and that's just to stall until Blade and then get a good shatter off. But Shinigami is alone. Or not Shinigami, Rage Quit is alone. Psycho kind of popped right there. Amazing combo with all the abilities. Polish comes out, but Shinigami is just consistently cleaning up shop.
Yeah. They have a nice hold.
Not to despair, that is very far to get it on Numbani.
Yeah.
Especially given how hard it is to get it around that bend once you get to point 3, just the respawn location and all that.
Hello, nation.
Initiating
He's saying hi
match.
to us.
Oh, nice.
The most wanted of nations.
Let's see.
Kitty's shaking her head.
I hate you. Just letting you know right now.
But I thought you were kidding. Anyways, the lobby goes on.
Ready.
On the side of Pizza Planet, it looks like we're going to see the Ryan Zarya comp. Looks like there's going to be a complete rushdown at point. Again, no Lucio. I guess people really take it to heart that they think Lucio is not viable right now.
I think maybe not. I don't know about here. I mean, you get a little like.
I'm talking about for the offense in the terms of Pizza Planet.
Oh.
Those tight corridors and the high ground, the ability to maneuver without getting chip damage from the sniper, in terms of Polish with the pocket, would be pretty effective. But it looks like they're attempting to stick with the tried and true Bat Mercy. Shinigami pulls out a Doomfist, which is a very interesting choice. Not something that I'm against personally, but you just don't see a lot of Doomfist play.
I like the BAP on attack, but I don't know about. I mean, I like the BAP on defense. I don't know about attack, but it
I think
work.
their goal is to rotate right to point and just play in the corner until they can get an early pick. Jag misses the pin, but is that a bubbled pin? Len is contemplating life right there. Stuck in that trap, nothing to do. Psycho gets melted down by Wexybot. But have no fear, Len gets the res off. Len has got a lot of uncontested reses on this map. Or actually all the maps. All 2 of them. Psycho falls into the trap. And Len pulls out the pistol and smacks Jag. Looks like this is a very fast take in terms of Pizza Planet, but with not a lot of stability, they do have a chance to be recontested by Tater-Bots should they choose to. And with how much they're stalling, it looks like they might not. Alright, they're staggering.
Oh, they got it.
Interesting choice. I guess they were waiting for someone to swap, possibly. On either note, I personally feel like the Doomfist is a great option against this Ryan Zarya with the Ashe, because you just have the ability to harass the tank line and the Ashe and make them position how you feel like it.
Are we gonna see a flame shadow like that?
Psycho, you mad lad. Psycho gets to jump on OMG.
Oh, race
I mean, not quite completing, but
oh, he blocked it on
that shatter.
Jag.
But Jag manages to delay it a little bit.
The space created right now is pretty nice. Psychonaut is creating the space for his team. That is big brain.
I would like to highlight that range pressing on this offense has been a very ideal Zarya in terms of how much they've like the consistency of the bubbles on targets who are in precarious situations. With 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, I think Pizza Planet really does have this one in the bag. It's really only to the bend, but it is very contestable. Just the war of attrition and how they have almost every ult on hand. Though Shatter Bomb does come out, and Polish might have just bought them a little bit more time. Let's see. Shinigami with the interesting punch, but trade off against Barbarella. At this point, I think Pizza Planet really needs to just step back and regroup, which is what it looks like Psycho's calling for. And Maka and Ragequit take an interesting angle with a power boost and jump. That's something you see every day. Oh, how unlucky! Ragequit goes for the sneaky tire, or rather, public tire, and it gets double teamed by Shinigami and Ragequit though, definitely getting just a lot of free hits, and Psycho and Shini just kind of pushing in, just kind of getting a lot of value. Team kill.
I've seen excuse me, sorry. I've seen in tier 2, like once our build up
The
really much
payload
faster.
is approaching its destination.
Like,
Yeah, with the ooh, that's a perfectly timed wall and the fade from Maka. Or Dabarella, my bad.
that shadow coming in trying to
It looks like Tater-Bots just don't have the capabilities to hold on to this.
try and pull his hits out.
Yeah, they just have too much raw damage output with the help of the consistent firing from the BAP, the Doomfist, and Zarya. There's really nowhere to hide on that point in that corner.
Play of the game.
Nonetheless, congrats to Psycho. That was the team wipe right before they started to get just the end, right? Yes, it was. Dang, ultimate shutdown, charges, fire strikes, everything.
I think his flank earlier was a lot more of a wasn't a better play of the game.
I actually would have to agree with you on that one. That was much more interesting.
Yeah, and very game changing because it pushed them through the second point faster.
It looks like Peace Planet definitely, I mean, they couldn't hear me, but they definitely took the advice that I was putting out there, which is that they just needed something a little bit more consistent, and it looks like it worked out really well in their favor. I'm curious to see what the next lineups will be. Looks like we'll be seeing Chronozeo in for Lex on the side of Pizza Planet. And because Tater-Bots still do not have any more than 6, this will be their only lineup for tonight.
System error needs to be switched though. I'm very impressed by both support sides on here. Ragnarok Alex is like getting like a lot of helping out with the picks and being there right by his team, like rezzing his team members. Very consistent rezzes, getting like surprising rezzes too. And Maka and
in the face of adversity, it appears that the rise and overcome strategy, or as I like to call it, the rise and spin strategy, just seems to work.
Yeah, Maka and Dabrella on Tater-Bots showing their oh my god, what the heck? Their diversity and supports.
What do you call it, the broccoli monkey from Gen 5? Unimportant. I just saw it in a Poke Horde. Ooh. The next map in this sequence, if I remember correctly, will be... Let me pull up my notes. Temple of Anubis. Ooh. I feel like This is a very big toss-up in terms of any of them. Ooh, wait. Oh, I misinterpreted that earlier. Psycho's also coming out. System error 1000? No. There's no one.
Wait, where did system error?
System error one not found? I don't know. On the side of Tater-Bots, I'm trying to think of what I can expect to see from them in terms of their offense. The Rein Zarya is their kind of their bread and their butter, while their DPS are the really flexible ones, and the supports play a wide range too. Who was that? Rogues? Oh, that's from Solar Eclipsed. Wrong lobby. Looks like both teams are ready. On the side of Pizza Planet, I really do hope to see some kind of sniper, like Bastion comp. I understand that Bastion's kind of frowned upon by the community. There's so many of them. What? Okay. But Bastion is an incredibly powerful protect the president kind of character, especially on this defense and the high ground that you have, just advantage-wise. Ragnarok Alex and Chronozeo. I'm expecting Chronozeo will probably be the one to take the Moira and the Ana kind of capabilities, where Ragnarok plays the more
now entering the temple of Anubis.
maybe Brig, Bap, that kind of range of characters.
Initiating match.
Ooh, Anubis. One of my better 2CP moves.
Alrighty. The agonizing 11 seconds before we can see what anyone's even thinking about playing.
I'm hoping to see at least probably a Moira on Ragnarok Alex's.
Ready for battle.
There we go.
Oh, so Chronozeo might pull out an Ana. Ooh, the Lucio of the map. A little late to the party against Ilios, but I mean, can't knock him for trying.
Attackers incoming
Mako
in
with
30
the Moira
seconds.
I do like the potential for the double sniper.
Yeah.
That's a very unconventional comp with the Orisa Diva, but it will be really good for kind of just holding choke and high grounds, while the Orisa kind of plays the anchor and just sets things the way they want. This is an offense. What?
3, 2, 1.
I've been looking at the corner the whole
Attackers
time. Okay.
incoming.
So
Defend objective A.
double offense sniper. I have to recalculate this all. Immediately range pressing gets kind of melted and choked. The barrier is not enough. And it appears the system error got trapped, which is why there was no ability to put the DM up. Looks like they're switching to a full dive with the double sniper still. I've seen this comp before. It's really more of a mixed space and click heads kind of comp. It's very skill oriented. Doesn't have the greatest teamwork together. I would say it's really more like just popping off. You see Shinigami get exactly.
The dual
Muffin Pirate gets on Rage Coat with both DPS down. This is this one got the Reinhardt and the Sigma. That's plenty enough. They can start landing some damage off, but it just looks like it's just not enough for them to kind of stabilize this cleave against the Sigma.
Hicks off
Hi.
Get into position.
I'm a little confused how they didn't already get a tick on the side of during their first push, or rather second.
System are taken out.
Tactical bubble.
n'échappe à mon regard.
New defense point. Objective
Ooh.
Made real.
64
On
for
the
a
s-
Diva Bomb.
On the side
Hoping
of
that-
Tater-Bots, though, we see the not traditional, but rather old school Diva Reinkamp. But they don't really swap the DPS or healing around, which I think is probably the most important part right now. Shinigami is consistently winning these duels because of the pressure that gets put onto the other DPS and tanks.
Diva Bomb back.
Tater-Bots are really playing stall to get the timer down, but at this point I think their best bet is to really hope that they have a successful attack in order to cut the full time mix down significantly. Because normally the respawn timer becomes more of a hazard, but with pulling out of the Mei, dive is significantly weaker, especially in the presence of the Brig. But it just seems like there's just not enough. Never say never? Yeah. Oh, Diva Bomb comes out, but the bubble's in there.
Oh, T-Top Ratchet perfect.
Ranch takes it, which I think officially shuts down this offense. Unless we see that System Error builds bomb and does something miraculous. But it seems they're all going to regroup for the time being. In terms of ult economy, I think that Peace Planet just has the ability to kind of slam them.
Personne
The Bob and the
n'échappe à mon
bomb.
regard.
Or is that Baby Diva?
That was a really good defensive effort by.
Props to Rage Quit, by the way, for pulling out the Mei in response to the dive. It's not something a lot of players understand.
Oh,
That was insanely unlucky or very planned from the side of Rage Quit. That bomb landed directly next to the pillar on top of the wall, and only landed there because of the wall. It got nothing technical. It didn't even get barrier damage. Alright, the Tracer Mei is a very... it's a very good comp, I would say, in this scenario.
they're coming back with the team. Oh, there's a mech fight on top, but it seems like Wagsy just went back to.
Matrix activated.
Down and moved right on my caster scanner.
I just want to see a big Diva Bomb.
If I were in the shoes of Tater-Bots at this moment, I would honestly probably attempt to get a flank pulse bomb as we speak, and the attempt to just kind of start keeping their uptime and pressure. They don't have the same amount of burst damage that like their other previous comps have been used to. A lot of utility and a lot of poke right here, which is very good against the again unconventional comp that the plant seems to be really fond of.
Here's another guest commentator group.
If he doesn't have the chat bug, hopefully he will be able to hear us, realize it's a game.
Yeah.
Taking off.
Oh, there you go.
Routing power to forward barrier.
Shout out to all the guest group now today.
Exactly, we're popular. In terms of ult economy, it looks like both teams are evenly matched, with both teams having both tank ults, DPS ult, and basically both teams having a support ult. The supercharged Bob comes in, but the freeze. Ooh, the bomb right over the archway.
Oh, get the Jack. And
That's massive.
Oh,
Kinda
goes
just-
on their side.
Oh, it's a triangle spam, and it looks like this might be their push. Dang, props to Polish for lasting that long. They got up, and Tater-Bots as a whole. They got that down to 46 seconds. They had to think about 4 minutes at one point.
Zero.
You know what they say? Never say never.
Switching
It was a big
sides.
Diva Bomb. Not a 5K, but it was big.
Initiating match.
Let's see if Taters can
replicate this in any variety.
come in harder.
Ready for battle.
Trying to find as many of these kitty signs as I can see. I've only found 3.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Do some
Nope,
of the
that's
what?
scary.
Kitty signs?
Yeah, like under the bridge. Oh, on the bridge. Going to first point. It's a cat.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, just random there.
That's almost as random as that one time that Jibba stared at the menu for about 2 seconds to 10 seconds past the game start, just talking about food, and then realized that she was the caster.
Defend objective A.
On the side of Tater-Bots, looks like they're going with the kind of the stable Ryan Diva, Genji, Reaper. This is some kind of mobile rushdown comp, I would say. Oh, they baited them into an engagement into main. The Lucio coming in clutch and Naka. This is a clean entry to point on the side of Tater-Bots. But with Chrono on high ground, they're going to definitely put Polish as I speak climbs up and catches first. Talking with the pick on range suppressing, but System Error gets the revenge. I think this is a very interesting hard hold to give when they didn't really have a chance to stall on the side of Pete's Plant. This is going to lead to a very big snowball, in my opinion, towards at least point percentage when they get to the side.
Come on, get through this.
And here we see, ooh, that's a fat anti comboed with the classic Shinigami Torbjorn ult uptime. Ain't nothing like the range suppression, by the way, just, you know, very accurate reset, I must say so. Or today is just his best day ever. In terms of ults, it looks like Peacemint does have the ability to kind of stagger this out, just like Tater-Bots did. But with this Shatter, it really depends on what Jag gets off. If Jag gets a fat Shatter off, fat Flux, nobody dies, but everyone's at low health at this point, forcing out the Coalescence. Polish dies to the beam. Well, Maki gets the pick on Shinigami.
Whoa, is that a huge remake right here? Hopefully we see a game-changing.
This will restore you. Hello.
Oh, hello.
There's a lot of ults coming up from Tater-Bots.
Touch from afar.
Fast from behind with their ults.
I do like the pull out of the Mei again on this defense inside of Pete's Planet. As much as I despise her being a tank main and all, she is very effective in terms of just shutting down a lot of attempts to enter with her ability to spam down the open sight lines and the threat of shutting down any kind of diving the point without some kind of slams of ult combinations or just abilities that would shut her down. Shinigami again almost close to his ult. Ops overload, gets in deep, but just kind of plays the poke battle. Possible fat wall comes up, ult comes out. They popped both DPS ults at the same time, which while it worked,
we didn't see that Polish had reflected some of that.
That's the second time this match. Actually, this is the second time I've ever seen that, I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't think they noticed that wasn't theirs when they just walked on it.
I do have to say that like this could be either a very detrimental thing that both DPS on the side of Pete's Planet popped both ults, or it could be just that Shinigami is going to build up his ult very fast again. And so we will Ooh, turret down by Legacy. Ooh, another fat flux. But the beat comes out to cancel it.
Oh, he gets slapped. Oh, and the teabag by Chrono on forward.
Rage quit with the kill on Ragnarok Alex. They have the ability to brawl like this, but Rage quit got frozen, and this is probably another failed push. You know what they say about TCPs though? This is just one of the hardest ideas of offense in this whole game is attacking something that's right next to spawn. Both things are actually getting staggered pretty hard right here on the side of Tater-Bots. Less? Question mark? They appear to use their luxury of a respawn advantage to get a little lax.
It's horrible, man. Oh my god.
I'm telling you, Shinigami is an insane defense hero player. I'm showing my age in this game. It appears like the most important thing for Tater-Bots at the moment would be that they just need to they need to get some kind of coordination together. They come in with a plan, but the moment that someone gets isolated, it seems like the whole thing is just called off almost. They don't really have the staying power of anybody.
Oh, nice shatter.
But Jack is frozen, slept, anti, shot in the face.
All in one go.
Nano Risa is a terrifying sight indeed.
So this is really low. I'm gonna get taken out by forward.
I'd rather not.
60 seconds
What's the plan?
remaining.
Holding it down. Making Tater-Bots just lower down their time. Get it. They probably have one fight left.
That is a fat anti from the side of Chronozeo has proven to be pretty insane. Almost as insane as that Hulk Dragons. These Tater-Bots really do have the ability to pull this around, but they really got to get a pick. Oh, poor Polish stepped into the lava and just got barely tickled by Ranch. The stagger, but a dive coming in. Gotta give it to him. What's he with the roll out? That slam was beautiful. He is antied, he is fluxed, everything.
Great effort by Tater, but seems like
This will restore.
Victory.
This officially is a 3-0. So Pizza Planet takes the win, but for map differential, we go to map 4.
It's 2-1.
Yeah, it's 2-1. I was like,
Tater-Bots won Ilios.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. This is reverse sweep time for somebody. That's what all casters want. Polish though with the surprising almost made up.
This is 2-1. It can't really be a reverse sweep anymore. It should have been 2-0 for it to be reverse sweep.
Well,
Learn your
I guess that's no, you're right about that. You're right about that.
I wonder what next guest we'll have in the next map. So far, we've we've had Charles come in, we've had Metric Osmium join us, and we've had Kron join us, aka Always, and BA joined us, Blink Assassins.
Yeah, the whole crew. All right. Rialto is the make it or break it map right here. This is either how Tater-Bots pulls us to a map 5, or this turns into a 3-1. I got that right this time.
Pizza Planet really turning it around after coming from a game earlier, so
Yeah, it
Like,
seems that they're really riding that wave.
yeah. Kind of like they took a
Let me
break in the
look at the
first map,
score.
then came back and said, okay, we're rested, let's go.
Exactly. Overall, from the other casters' point of views, what are the things that you think that Tater-Bots really needs to start ramping up in order to really make this possible for like a turnaround?
They need to shut down Shinigami for them to get some good like leverage on their side. Because it seems like Shinigami cleans up, comes in, picks them out.
I agree.
And that's what I've seen so far. Their support, both supports on both sides, are really doing a good job. Like, same thing with tank lineup. It's just both sides are doing good. It's just one's overdoing the other, and I think that's what Pizza Planet side is. Shinigami's giving them the picks that they need to overcome as a team.
Looks like Len is coming in for Reg, and on defense first, this will be actually probably the perfect opportunity for that Bastion I've been begging for all game. Come on, Shinigami, don't let me down.
I wouldn't
But-
see him on Torb, but that Torb.
I know.
oh my God.
I mean, it's kind of torn almost at this point. It's like the Torb is just working so well for them. But on the same hand, I've seen that Bastion. That Bastion's crazy, especially with the pocket.
And Polish is really diverse with his characters and or heroes, and like both sides are really trying. So I'm hoping to see what Polish comes out next on this round.
Also, finger pistol. Yeah, they slept the ult in Genji and they teabagged them.
That was pretty nice. That was
So
pretty
just
good
for
play.
extra measure, you gotta get the teabag in.
It makes it last longer, doesn't it?
It makes it last longer. Shout out to Chrono for that sleep. That was sleep
Welcome
of
to
the week.
Rialto.
Even though it's Sunday.
Sleep is for the week. Anyways,
That's you're fired. More Spider-Man pictures.
alrighty, on
Initiate
the
match.
I really do want to see Polish bring out the Widow on this map. First time I ever met Polish back when he was eligible on DPS for tier 3, which was tier 2 back then. He was with DP and he just popped off on Widow on this map. He got a quadruple, whole 9 yards, all headshots. It was insane. I finally get my request has been fulfilled.
Polish take you does it for you.
Exactly. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Attackers incoming.
I make them
in
even never
30
seen the
seconds.
movie. It's okay to yell at me, kitty.
Gabriella back on the brig.
This is just going to be one big game of just pocket the heck out of Polish. They're just going to use the power boost and the armor to try to keep Polish from being dived on or just taking the extra damage. And then the bubble is entirely, I'm guessing, safe for Polish.
3, 2, 1.
My heart!
Attackers incoming.
What?
He switched out.
Stop the payload.
Anyways, looks like we have an Ashe now and a Hanzo. That's cool. Whatever. You didn't care about the Bastion. Don't worry about it.
I'm so happy there's a Torb.
Yeah, the Torb is
Oh,
great.
he survived Gabriella with the saves themselves.
Rich with the early pick onto Chronozeo, but this is kind of already looking to be in favor of Tater-Bots in terms of this push. They've gotten past the hardest part, which is the bridge. Though this open field with all the room for just spread out barriers can be problematic for their double sniper comp. I gotta give it to Ranch. Ranch has just been a very consistent tank. The pool's always looking nice, whether there's follow-up or not. Muffin Pirate and System Zero kind of just playing the whole we're gonna keep you off a point game. Ooh, Shinigami getting picked just before he's able to pop his ult, looks like. Didn't lose it, but he had the opportunity.
So one thing I've noticed when Sigma uses his ult and Marissa turns into gold, she drops from his ult, right? So at some point I was confused about that. Isn't gold heavier? So you have a hard time holding that up.
I don't think that's the intent. But I mean, whatever suits your headcanon. The Shinigami 5-second ult came out again, but Maka with an uncontested res on the Jag. Double uncontested reses, I guess. Who ulting Brig is not something that Narisa can really take down alone. Brig is just a beast. And it looks like Tater-Bots cap .1 with an early bob and an attempt to kind of apply pressure and get them over the bridge again, it looks like. Which I find very big-brained, or possibly due to timing issues, would be kind of a wasted ult. Looks like because of the early picks from Polish and Rage Quit, that that Pizza Planet is really just kind of giving them as much space as possible at the moment, or just fear of the extra sniping.
This choke right here is going to be a nice battle right here.
See the vertical pop on the side of Pizza Planet, but it does not do very well against a Dragons. Finish person dodges that at the very last second. Look at all them assists. Ain't that crazy? Polish get the kill on Bobby boy.
Bob should have been killed.
He should have been.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Ooh, looks like Ranch has chosen the wrong time to go ball, unable to touch in time, leaving them with just the Sigma, really to kind of mitigate stuff at the moment. I feel like a Shinigami's Doomfist is kind of hit or miss in terms of what's going to work here.
He's spectating. He's on the game. Is he?
No, he was in.
Oh shit. Oh. Okay. Sorry for that.
But on the side of Pizza Planet, I think the most important part is that Shinigami is running into a lot of difficulty, given the fact that this Brig is kind of just kind of a constant presence on point. Not exactly an easy diveable target, as she has the ability to counterpin and lay you out, or counter bash, I guess you call that. And the armor packs do make a difference on his primary fire, not as much as his rocket punch, but it does really affect his ability to finish off targets if they start receiving armor once he starts firing with the little fist. I'm gonna check in on Mass Chat and see exactly how System's doing. This happened at like 7:32 for me, so there you go. You got the math. Why did we unpause?
They're
Oh,
ready.
he's back. It didn't show me that it said that he joined back on the screen. That's what I was confused about. Tater-Bots are going to continue to ride this momentum, especially with the fact that System Error, I believe, lost a Flux or most of the Flux, which, real shame. That could have been a great stalling tool. With the rally popping, how close all of them are together, and Bob, this is looking very favorable on the side of Tater-Bots. As Ranch Suppressing gets picked off by the Bob, and it's really only the S, but it's always a bad day when the Doomfist gets melee. That's his job. And Polish, by the way, popping off a help with Rage Burst. Headshots after headshot.
Score 0-3. Switching sides. Initiating match.
Time to press the button. Oh, the button doesn't work.
Yeah, I can't move because I'm stuck.
The auto move button, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I spectate point of views from different sides, so I'm like stuck on the attacking side right now. I think our defense is. Oh, okay.
Ready for battle.
There we go. So I think Pizza Planet are gonna attack this.
I do like the idea of the diving Genji with the Widow
Attackers
comp on this like first little bridge area. Genji is well equipped to deal with the common Orisa, which normally predicates this map, but it does appear that Tater-Bots are very dead set on this Ryan Zarya. We haven't seen much variation outside of like Elios.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, and we see the Lucio come out, but on the side of Tater-Bots we see the Mercy Brig. Depending entirely upon how Pizza Planet engages, this could be a complete success or a total failure on the healing lineup. Ranch Suppressing alone has managed to push them all off the high ground on the side of Pizza Planet. Interesting leap to engage. I think he hit the light post. Shinigami's kind of uncontested at the moment with a fat anti/Bionade. I've never learned what you call it when it lands on you. I just thought about that. Anyways, but it appears like Tater-Bots are. I mean, they're building up their ults fairly fast in terms of DPS and Dabarella and Maka. But
Tater's winning. Okay, now it's more.
Show them what you can do.
Tater.
It's because there's so much potential for them, for either side, to just kind of slap something on the table, be it a combination of abilities, even, or an ult or two, and you never know what happens. We see Muffin Pirate pull out the Bash and Shinigami. That's your job. Anyways, we see System Error taking the high ground, but with no real support backup, it's kind of hard to maintain that high ground. Who is that beat for? Muffin Pirate is somewhere. They're dead. I saw them get a pick, but then I didn't know where they were, just because they were already dead.
High ground. Might be seeing the planet showing a little fatigue.
I think that would be a very good word to describe it right here, because it just seems like Ranch Suppressing and System Error, while they work well together, they don't seem to have very complementary hero pools, at least from what they're displaying.
Oh, that was big!
Your wish has been fulfilled, System.
Thank you.
System
I'm out.
Errors.
Y'all take care.
Got you.
Team kill.
system air with the fat diva bomb, right as I was saying. So,
yeah, he totally
cast
he
his
shut you
curse.
up.
Ooh, we do see the dragons come out, but it's not enough to stop them from getting on point. I really wonder if that was a pop it or not moment right there in terms of the dragons.
I think he probably should have waited till we were on the bridge, but I mean, could have probably saved it if you were.
In terms of spam damage, though, they definitely had it in spades on the side of Pizza Planet. Ooh, is that a nice shatter? That's a fat shatter.
Oh,
Jag antied, but walking out of the mortality. It looks like System Air is the only one to stagger out right here. No, Shinigami's like 1 HP somewhere. In their back line, don't worry about him, he'll show up later. I think... I do wonder, I mean, it is worth using that Bastion ult, but I wonder if the Bastion is worth something to set up, if they can continually shut down the cart movement and make it harder for Muffin Pirate to kind of set up. Do they nano them? Holy cow.
Yeah, that's OP, very OP.
No, that's a nade, that's a nade, that's a nade.
Oh.
In terms of the kills that Muffin Pirate was a part of. But Shinigami, though, he is the man.
Oh, he rage quit. Oh, and he gets that in Chrono with the teabag. That guy, Chrono just loves teabag. That guy
Who does and we see Super come out inside of Ranch Suppressing, but
triple
Polish's fat dragons come out again, but it just
Back to
doesn't
back.
have the impact that's necessary. It doesn't wipe them off the point before it caps.
It must be tea time because there's a lot of teabag in there.
I don't know. I'm not from Britain. We have to get Sebian on this. He's the expert.
I skipped 7.
I mean, nothing like a good old tea that's named after the color gray. In terms of the game, though, it appears that Jag is just not getting the support he needs at all times to be as aggressive as he probably intends to. This amount of spam coming from Shinigami and Muffin Fire together is just kind of melting the barrier and putting too much pressure on him. I almost wonder if Lexi would be better off playing the Zarya, if for nothing just to scare off Shinigami. Shinigami's pumping out these ults every couple of minutes, it feels like.
Seems like that Diva Bomb was like
It was game changing. That was a whole possibility.
like that.
No, I think it was. I think it's the make / break of this whole round.
Initiating match.
So we see Pizza Planet again on offense, and I mean, I wonder if this is going to be an example of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They didn't really have an effective answer to the just sheer amount of spam of the Arisa Diva with the pocketed Bastion and Genji. I think Chrono's AO just kind of, you know, laying the smackdown in terms of just raw healing. Yep, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. On the side of Tater-Bots, they are going pretty hefty on this one. They're pulling out their own double barrier in forms of Sigma, which is not something that you see very often from Jag. Jag is a Reinhardt specialist, we'll say. And Rage Quit put on the Bastion. It appears that Rage Quit seems to be one of the more high damage characters on his or players on his team. Pulling out the Bastion, the Reaper, the Junkrat, but not afraid to go to the utility heroes such as Mei and things like that. With this setup, Lexi attempts to get just a fair amount of line of sight while Jack is playing the pull for the bash.
Time to raise
They
my
have an answer for the pop of the Giga Bomb again with Gabriella on
Defense mode activated.
bashing on both sides.
I think the most important thing to remember is that this is most likely going to end in some form of Sig 9. With the fact that Wegsy is, I mean, what, we're like 30 seconds into this round? 45? He's already about 40%, and it just, he starts landing a couple more direct shots, some splash damage. He can kind of shut this down when it comes to overtime. Anyone lagging real hard? Sorry to interrupt. I'm like at 180, 200 ping right now. I am on a hotspot. I'm not downloading anything still, right?
There is no.
I don't know. I mean, things are like gliding across the screen.
Well, Wegsy's got his
30 seconds.
stop.
This would be more of a save it till the time is ready kind of thing. Possibly even giving up 0.1 just so that the overtime timer goes up higher.
Routing power to forward shield.
Probably holding the fire.
APM to recover that.
There we go. Oh, he gets taken up by the fire. He survived, but he has no ult.
I feel like Wegsy may have popped that a little too early in terms of effectiveness. This one does have the ability to send this one flying just by sheer ult economy and the fact that they don't have anything that can remove them from point besides yank from Risa.
You're gonna really have to stay on the payload.
Well, I mean, that's not necessarily an issue given the fact that they have the,
Yeah.
The whole Bastion Mercy comp with the Risa.
You think going down?
Oh, was it audible before?
All systems checked out.
Was it audible
No,
before? How laggy I was?
No.
Actually, yeah, it is a little better. That's weird.
Probably just a little small spiky. Yeah, it is around that time where a lot of people log in. Like,
Yes.
Grand
Suppressing, just kind of making some mad space.
Too high, too high. You got two
No,
people.
it still got some value.
Yeah.
Now show them.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
I really feel like Tater-Bot's best answer to this is just that they need something that can just die on top of that Bastion, like the Junkrat. Like they just literally just stand on top of them and melt them. Rage quit though, Puggers! It looks like Tater-Bots are able to somewhat solidify. I wish I could tell you what's happening, but I can't.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on probably.
Really?
Just the air takes out drag, and it seems like they're fighting, pushing a bit.
They want every last inch of this point. If they can get to the last one, they're going. Ooh, with the dragons and the flux coming out, that's just kind of an unavoidable Sig-9.
Oh, they still hold on.
But this does go to show you the importance of the flux in this comp when it comes to an overtime situation. It set them up for that whole scenario of getting them off the point long enough and putting enough damage on them.
For 2 minutes, they pushed it pretty far.
They definitely did. Now the next question is what can Tater-Bots pull out that will be effective? They, in all honesty, I feel like they need something more of a bunker comp or even a dive, just something to really capitalize on. That would be a good move, but they need something that just really to capitalize on the fact that Shinigami and Muffin Pirate are going uncontested rather frequently, it feels like, and they're just getting so much free reign on the the barriers. Ooh. They are expecting the Bastion, and they are right. This could be a very interesting dynamic. I wonder if this is going to be an EMP bomb scenario. We'll have to find out if it, I mean, it's 3.5 minutes. They'll get both ults, but if they coordinate it in that variety, we'll find out.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Oh, Shinigami taking out Rage.
Without the consistency to set up on point immediately like that. Ooh, Polish in the back and hack off on Muffin Pirate, kind of putting an end to the spam down the choke, forcing them into the other hallway. It gives Tater-Bots a little bit of an opportunity to reset up their Bastion. I like the positioning of Rage Quit right here, using the open doorway as their line of sight to set up on the bridge out of harm's way.
Barrier is out of existence.
Establishing defense point.
System error about to come up with 90% on his ult, and it seems like fire in the hole! And Taters are gonna have a lot of ults.
Given how much time they have, I would think this would be an almost opportune moment to pop that ult. Rage Quit is getting a lot of damage off. I do like the attempt of Shinigami just to straight up die on top of the Bastion like I was mentioning before. People don't believe me that's a real strat. It works. It just works. Ooh, Bastion ult with the window is a lot of pressure, but they're using the natural cover of the cart to kind of avoid as much as they can. And that's a fat flux on the side of Wegsy bot. Holy cow.
A lot of fighting. Muffin Pirate is winning the Bastion fight against Rage Quit.
Yes. And I can't exactly answer why, because their support lineup is doing the same thing to each Bastion, as well as the DPS is trying. Both DPS or partners are trying to enable both teams. And then the tanks are.
And with the tire, Shinigami once again showing his clutchness.
I'm definitely surprised again at the uptime, just how many ults Shinigami seems to pump out.
30 seconds remaining.
Ooh, it's getting real close to wire. They gotta touch. Jack manages to touch in time, and we see Rage Quit coming in with the clutch freezes, but Shinigami just kind of just slapping them all around. It looks like system error had been something. Wait, what canceled their ult? They got frozen.
Told you, Junkrat Bastion. The planet takes. Did they win last game, right? Yep, their second win in today.
Of the game.
System error with the big Diva Bomb. Thank you.
Nerf this!
Look at that. Gorgeous curve.
Quadruple kill.
Oh, I love it. This whole black screen where I can't see anything.
Oh, and Oh, karate top.
I'm deprived. Shinigami with 25, almost 26,000 hero damage, as well as Maka with 23,000 healing. And as a Reinhardt main, 45,000 damage blocked. Holy cow.
No, it's
Actually,
the...
sorry, it was Valkyries won week 10 against Pizza
Valkyrie
Planet.
won? Oh, so okay, so 1 loss, 1 win for Pizza Planet tonight.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Evened out, not that bad.
Alright, so now is the fun part. We get to talk about MVPs.
Systematic
Right off the bat, I think the hardest one to think about would be the healing one, which I think should go to Tater-Bots, because I think that Ranch Depressing and Shinigami are the, in my book, they just were insane the whole game. But Tater-Bots, I think,
Dabarella.
I think Dabarella is the option that I would put up. Maka had a lot of healing, but Dabarella gave a lot of the utility throughout the maps, and they did it very well.
If Pizza Planet got the support as well, I would have given it to Chrono, but...
We gotta give that,
I don't know.
I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Chrono for those sleeps and,
Yeah, for the sleeps, yeah.
and tea bags.
Sleeps and bags.
Yeep.
So with a final score of 3-1 to Pizza Planet, we are asking the MVPs to be Shinigami for DPS, Ranch Depressing for tank, and for healing will be Dabarella.
Shout out
Do
to
we have
Chrono.
any more games for the night? We still have
Currently,
an
there
ongoing
is a
game.
tier 1 Blank Assassins versus Solar Eclipse, I believe, over on the main account.
You're right.
So, anybody who may or may not be in the stream, if you're interested in some tier 1 action, please pop into that stream, show some support. That's bound to be a spicy one.
Blink Assassins.
Yeah. So,
They like undefeated.
I don't think that's accurate. I don't know.
I forgot.
Either way, this is the casting crew signing off.
See ya.